This is Overtime, a live series brought to you by Riglinks and War Room Media, where we talk about basically anything we want. And here are your hosts, Greg Williams and Ryan Ray.
And we're back.
Here we are.
Maybe we can withstand the digital drama on my side. Ryan, we have a new sponsor this week, man.
I see that. I'm still waiting on my extra large hat from last week. I don't know. I need to reach out to them and see if they have it. A Canadian oil hat. So who's our sponsor this week? Gregory.
We have. You just called me Gregory. How dare you? Gregory is the guy that drinks tea with your parents in the morning. So this is a company called, this is Lit Handlers. They are a small family-owned merchandise company based there in Texas. Same as last week. Everybody get in there, download the application, and go visit Lit Handlers to get your 50%. It's 15%, mind you, 15% off. But once you download the app, then you can visit their website at www.lithandlers.com and use the discount code that is sent by email with your email verification once you register with us. And just like last week, next week, if you are a subscribing member to our weekly rundown newsletter, then you will get the code in your weekly newsletter. So
awesome. I'm looking at their stuff right now. I definitely need some handles. So
and at the end of the day, you don't need any more Naked Yetis. I gotta say that they for me they won the prize here with the logo. They did a good job.
Yeah, the logo is really good.
It's perfect. It is perfect.
Really good. I agree. Well, awesome. Well, thanks for sponsoring the show.
Man, dig it. So we'll talk about our oil prices. Our drilling expected to grow over the next 2 years. Also, what's kind of stuck in the Suez Canal right now. Unbelievable. The big oil and gas CEOs are starting to cuddle up to Biden. So we'll let you expand a little bit on that one. A few comments, I'm sure you have. But we made some picks on the BKFC back, February. So we're going to go ahead and talk about that as well as our picks for BKFC 17. So, and then next after that, we got Iron Mike and Evander. And then Ryan, what does DoorDash and dirt have in common? So that'll be what closes the show. Closes the show. We can't go away without something like that. So hey there, Barry from Madrid. Welcome to the show.
Oh yeah, I'm sure my comments on here. There we go.
All right. Absolutely. No Naked Yetis. Moving on. Ryan, the oil prices. That's WTI 57.60 some change, and Brent at 61.10 and some change. So from this side, only thing I could see was probably that thing that's shoved up in the Suez Canal that's made a few changes over the last 24 hours. But what do you think?
Well, we had inventory build for the third or fourth week in a row now. The inventory keeps building here in the U.S. And so if this economy's roaring, the inventory's got to go down. That's just how supply and demand works, right? So
absolutely.
As demand increases,
if you drive up to the pump, something's got to come out of the handle. It's got to go into a cargo ship. It's got to go somewhere.
Right. And so, if you're sitting there, the prices are down. I know there's signs that the economy is picking back up with some job numbers this morning, and that's probably true. But I think that the Chinese buying late last year really kind of propped the market up higher than it should be, and we're seeing the price kind of reset now. So, but does that mean that the price
was it this morning or yesterday that the first container cargo, our first tanker headed out of Guyana to India too. So that was another big big thing for the news. But hey, yeah, you're right. If you're going to get out there and you're going to get on vacation, I suggest doing it wide open. Everything you got, just go have a good time. That's everybody. Whole United States, just go on vacation.
Let it rip. We're the number one consumer of oil and gas. So, when we get back,
just knock the bottom completely out of it.
Yeah, that's what it's going to take, right? And so, but we
hyperinflated still, you think?
What's that?
Hyperinflated, you think?
Well,
still,
when you think about the fact the storage is continuing to grow is a concern, and listen, it was only I think 1.4 million barrels or something this week, so it wasn't a huge increase, but we did do 23, we did 12, and I can't remember last week, and then yesterday it was like 1 million. So we do need to see some draws, right? Draws was what will draw the price back up. And so if it keeps adding week over week over week, even since 1 million barrels week over week, the price is not going to it's not going to skyrocket, because they're going to say, well, the price is going. And then we have to wonder what the Saudis are doing. This is the brilliance of the Saudi strategy by going to the monthly OPEC meetings. So either in April or in May. I can't remember when their next time to renegotiate. I mean, they meet monthly, but I don't know when their next chance to put barrels on the market is. It's either in 2 weeks or in 6 weeks. They could go and add 1 million barrels.
April, I think.
Right. Yeah. So I know they're meeting the 1st of April, but I don't know if they're going to announce for. I can't remember when the current period extends to. So, but yeah, probably the 1st of April.
Oh, okay.
But anyways, let's say it's the 1st of April. So within a week or two, the Saudis could put 1 million barrels back on the market. Well, then what's the price going to do then? So,
7 million.
I think 7 million. I think they've played it quite well. We'll see. If summer demand gets back up and going and people are getting out, then we'll start to see some draws. But right now, that's not where we're at. Someone asked what's causing the price drop. So I think by and large, the Chinese buying late last year in Q4 is what propped the prices up. Chinese buying has slacked off through Q1 of 2021. And so the market, it wasn't really as vibrant as the prices were indicating. And so now we need demand to pick back up, or demand doesn't have to pick up if the production goes down, right? So that's the other side. So if production starts to drop, then the demand can stay where it's at. But you need demand to come back up or production to go back down for the prices to pick back up. And right now, that's not where we're at.
Stalemate. On the what about the exploration activities? I mean, to be honest, it depends on what region you're in. I mean, worldwide, there are other exploration activities underway, and there's still new permits being issued, and there's still blocks being purchased, and it just depends on what area that you want to focus on. If you're talking about the United States, you can go ahead and put a goose egg on that. That means, for people that don't know what that means 0 at the moment. So that's any new exploration, not anything that's underway. Same thing with the, potentially with the UK and other parts of the world are starting to talk about that. But it just depends on where you're at with that one. And I'm sorry, I'm going to probably mispronounce your name, but Mungatar? So, Mungatar? Yeah. Yes, sir. So, thanks for the question. And thank you, Lokish, as well. So, all right. Speaking about drilling, we'll jump over here to the next one here on our looks like 2 years of consecutive growth, they're saying. So, Ryan, some speculation for the rest of the year on wells to be drilled globally from Rystad. Looks like over 2021, they're estimating 54,000 barrels, or 54,000 wells. Let me get my foot out of my face here. To be drilled worldwide. And into 2022, they're seeing a 19% increase, or around 64,500 some change, worldwide. But, they're hollering growth and recovery, but they did go on to say that the onshore segment remained a bit more sensitive. Obviously, we talked about this before with the continued capital discipline with the shale operators as they push out most of the activity into 2022. But the European and African market seem to be stagnant all of next year. But the big winners out of this was Brazil, Guyana, and Mexico. So, you got any thoughts there, Ryan?
If we're going to increase drilling, the price better go up. Demand better go up, rather.
Well, I mean, we always try to look at it from both the rig perspective and from the market perspective. And you're right. For the consumption needs to pick up when the drilling pick up. But it depends on what market you're in and where you're at. I mean, this is good for Brazil, Guyana, and Mexico, no doubt. But
what are you hearing
64,000
stuff?
500 wells worldwide doesn't seem like a whole lot, does it?
Right. But what are you hearing about going back to restrictions and shutdowns? Because I know over the weekend there's protests in Germany, Switzerland, London, but it seems like there's the variant news is kind of taking the headlines, and there's a double variant or something in India, I think is what I heard. How when we talk about predictions right now, I was on a show the other day talking about this, and it's quite hard to know what to predict because if will people be go back to their homes? Will they be shut down? Will the governments try to do that? I don't know, but to kind of get beyond the summertime right now seems to be a little bit premature. Whereas 2 or 3 years ago, you'd say, okay, well, if this happens, da da da. Well, right now, it felt like we were going to move past COVID, but with all the variant talk and the vaccines, it's like, are we going to move past it? Will the economy really open back up?
I think and I'm just going to comment on a international perspective, is that I don't think that it makes difference what variant or what comes out at this time. I think the operators as well as the contractors and all the service companies have figured out how to work their way through it successfully now. So from the point of consumption and being in particular parts of the world where people can't travel and can't do, you'd have to look at your largest, consuming regions. Again, that goes back to same thing we discussed before, which would be China, US, India, places like this. So the large consumers where I would want to keep the focus on what they were doing. And I mean, here is India taking its first shipment from Guyana. So again, lockdowns in Eastern Europe and Eastern smaller places in Eastern Europe, I don't think are going to affect the market, Ryan. Just me. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not. I want to feel like we're past COVID and we're looking towards things will open back up, but after
but again, Ryan, when we're talking about lockdowns and stuff, what were our previous indicators that the lockdown was actually affecting the prices? Because I missed it if it came up, because there was so much change and so many different things happening. Like, what was the indicator, as far as the oil price showing that a lockdown was going to be affecting global economy with it? Other than the
negative.
Well, you're speaking from WTI perspective, right? Yeah. Okay. So I don't get me wrong. I understand, but it's also a term of measurement that became collectively, questioned the days after that. So now, again, I mean, you have to take it from looking at it, I guess, from a Brent perspective. I mean, but does the consumption change on smaller country lockdowns? I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't think there would be a blip on the radar. Yeah. I mean, if you lock down the United States, if you lock down the whole of the United States and you lock down all of China, you're talking about a completely different scenario than you are if you're saying you're locking down Poland or locking down Croatia or one of these places.
Yeah. We agree. My question, my point is that prior to March of last year, there were certain things you could look around and go, well, I wonder if this is going to happen now. Right now, it felt like the vaccine narrative was going to push us past the COVID talk. But with the talk of the variants, I'm a little reluctant to say by the end of summer, yeah, we're going to have everything back open in the U.S. because you have Dr. Fauci saying, well, the variants might not, the vaccines might not work as the variants. Well, if that's true and the government tries to push towards lockdown, then what are we going to do? So I think we're just it's a little early.
I might not believe what Dr. Fauci says anyway. I mean,
well,
I think that's
again, we can. It doesn't matter if we or you believe him. He's got your boy Joe Biden is talking to him. He ain't calling me up, so
he's not calling up. He's not calling up nowhere in Granbury getting any information.
No, he's not calling me up for advice. And so, whatever you think about Fauci, which I would tend to take something close to that position as well. It doesn't really matter because that's what's advising him. I don't know if people will take the lockdowns again, but I just think that right now, every time I get kind of optimistic, like okay, we're gonna move forward, it feels like there's kind of this pushback. It's like the variants, the double variants, the mutated variants is like, good gosh, let's just move on with our lives. So
I mean, hopefully, by the end of summer we've narrowed it down, but I don't know. Ryan. That's a good question.
Did you see the headline in Bloomberg?
I would have never thought by now that we'd be still into this. And again, you remember this was around this same time last year is when it started, and we were thinking 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, okay. You saw the headline I posted from Bloomberg.
Yes, saw that.
Okay, and so so if people, it's not that I'm pessimistic. It's just that it's just we're in this time, and the headline read, where was it? Do you remember exactly the exact wording? I don't remember off the top of my head, but some of the permanent pandemic. Yeah, we must start planning for a permanent pandemic. That's a headline from Bloomberg. Okay, okay, I don't know what Bloomberg knows or doesn't know that I don't know, but if they're right and that's the narrative, well, okay, that will impact things. A permanent pandemic.
I mean, wouldn't that change to normal? I mean,
yeah, there is no pay. All right. Yeah, I mean, agreed, right?
It's not a pandemic anymore if it's normal, is it?
It's
still amazing.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
I don't know. I was going to say I think it's amazing that we're where we're at, and what we from last year to the same time. It's amazing to me. And another question here from Guitar. Reason for all the contractors merging is because of bankruptcies, man. They're trying to strengthen up their balance sheets. They're still trying to make money here. So yeah, all the merge this morning, which we also published between Noble and Pacific. I'm going to say it depends on when you say good news. Again, it's kind of like the question you asked earlier. You want to talk about what region you're in as far as exploration. You also want to look at what side of the table you are on here from a service perspective. So if you're a contractor, this is good news between Noble and Pacific because it takes another company off the market. Now, it doesn't take any rigs off the market that you're competing with, but it takes another company off the market. So, you can look at it from that perspective and say, okay, well, nothing's really changing inside either organization. I think Noble's keeping its board of directors as well as executive management. But again, I think that as long as the companies are merging, they're finding ways to reduce their debt, and they're finding different places to leverage the market. I think it's always a good thing because that shows that they're still in it for the long run and not selling it out and scrapping it and junking it. So anyway, that's my take on it, Guitar. So
you nailed it.
All right, moving on here to our next one, which would be this ship we've got stuck in the Suez Canal, brother. That thing is listen. I started getting photos from this. I guess it was early yesterday. But if anyone's watching the screen here, I want you to look at the very tip of this ship, right? That, my friends, is a backhoe. So that is a tiny backhoe.
Well, no, it's a big backhoe.
Very front of the ship.
It's a big
backhoe. The chief, sorry, I was jumping ahead, but it's a container ship. It is 1,312 foot long and weighs over 200,000 tons, and is currently still wedged in the Egypt's Suez Canal, blocking traffic in not one of the world's busiest trade routes. I'm going to say the busiest trade route. So, it was bound for Port Rotterdam. Look, Ryan, the captain of this container ship must have had a few mini strokes there. Can you imagine just headed into there and then bam, you beached? So, I mean, I'm sure that most of first-time captains probably are a bit nervous going into the Suez Canal anyway. But when I hear the word long-term, I mean, it just it fits this narrative right here with this thing stuck in the Suez Canal. Somebody's going to be getting pissed real soon.
So, if I understand correctly, and this was an initial report. The ship lost power and the wind blew it. Is that still what they're saying, or has that changed?
I'm still a bit sketchy for me because, from what I understand, they actually take control of the vessel when it comes into the Suez Canal. So the operators or the pilots have control of the vessel bringing it in. So the captain's only there for guidance or for ship operations. So in a situation like this, if you lost power, and we do this, I do this, a lot of people do this every day for a living. I mean, they're supposed to have triple redundant systems. I mean, if these vessels are typically DP positioned, or maybe this is a DP1 or DP2, but I mean, if it lost power, it should have a redundant system that was able to bring it back up. In this case, he probably only had a few short seconds to make that decision before he got sideways.
Yeah. So, this.
But again,
so words like this happen.
That picture tells it all.
Oh yeah. Listen, did you see that picture that car I put on my? You remember that picture I put yesterday? That car you were commenting on about the mayor deal.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Hey, this would be me inside of that car. I would be wedged up in that car like this. Yeah. You have to cut the top off that thing. I mean, I wouldn't be able to get out of that car. There's no way. So this is kind of how I see that going down.
I mean, of course, I made a few comments on that as well, and I mean and I agree. This would definitely, if I'm this guy in this ship, I'm already thinking about putting it in reverse and how I'm going to get out of there, because I can't turn around.
Yes, sir.
I can't turn around. Right? You can't turn around in there. No. It's obvious.
Yeah, you're stuck. You're stuck.
Yeah.
Done. Yeah, that's a bad day at the office. I will say this, Greg, and I'm curious. Just so when you look at something like this, and the Suez Canal has been talked about as being a choke point for years, and yet, to my knowledge, off the top I can remember, this is the biggest event that's happened in the Suez Canal ever in my lifetime that I can remember. Maybe something's happened I forgot about.
Our lifetime, yes, I agree.
Right. Okay, so one of the
other than a couple of, I think there was always talk about shutting it or something, and kind of speculation. But I mean, that's not gonna happen, so.
I just really struggle with. We talk about the U.S. need for military presence and all this stuff around the world. It's like, listen, here's a picture of a stuck ship. Okay. If you just had a little bit of C4, you sank that bad boy. There ain't nowhere else to go. Like this is like walking down a narrow hallway. And so when I see stories like this, it makes me wonder. Like, I don't even understand. Like how, like you talk about the threat of disrupting the global order of things. And yet nothing ever happens.
Here you go. Something just as simple as a cargo ship done it.
Yeah. He just lost power. Was probably eating his McDonald's. Looked up, and they're like, power went off, and then next thing you know, he's blown around. So I'll say this: I'm sure he's gonna get fired, poor fella. Assuming it wasn't negligence, it was actually lost power. I don't know. But has he slept a wink since this has happened? Do you think, the captain?
No, and that's what earlier whenever I was chatting with RV on West Africa Weekly, we were talking about, will this guy actually even, make it out of this situation? Who knows?
Yeah. So I mean, I would imagine, because the bill will be paid by them for all of the other stuff going on. And so I can't imagine even if it was an accident that he will he can make it out alive. Not alive, but with his job.
Somebody else will own the company after that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Just if you want to talk about delays in product and yeah. Anyway, for anybody that's just joining, if you look at the front of this, if you look at the bow of this tanker or this container ship, that is a backhoe, my friends. So
that's crazy.
It's so small that unless you knew what you were looking at, you wouldn't know that was a backhoe.
Yeah, when you started
what he's doing, I don't know.
Yeah,
what he's doing, I don't know.
I was wondering why you're pointing. Like, what's there to see over there? I can't even look like a pile of rocks.
Yeah, and I mean you think that, Ryan, as long as they've had the Suez Canal there would be an emergency response plan to deploy, some kind of something in there. Maybe they're definitely going to be thinking about probably having tug assist going through there from now on. I don't think that somebody's sitting in the right area to make some money. That's for sure.
Oh, Anas Alahaji, this is 3 hours ago, says they will take this with a grain of salt. They will start removing containers and empty the water from the Evergreen to reduce its weight.
They will.
They also asked for a team of 10 divers with certain equipment. No one knows how long that will take. So this could be a couple more days, huh? I mean, I don't know how long it takes to remove from tanker to tanker, but it can't be easy to get the stuff.
Now it depends on what news source you're looking at and where the information is coming from. But I saw up to 2 weeks, man.
Whew, long way.
Can you imagine the traffic being backed up with Suez Canal 2 weeks? It's not like a red light going out in Granbury.
No, sir. Listen, if you don't want to go the Suez Canal route, it's a long way around Africa. That's a long way to go around Africa.
And it's rough too. It's rough. Going around the Horn is rough.
Yes, sir.
All right. Moving on here to our next chat. So, Ryan, the leading oil and gas CEOs are cuddling up to Biden's climate change campaign. So, chief executives of some of the largest U.S. oil companies promised to collaborate with Biden's administration in its campaign against climate change during a meeting Monday with White House National Climate Advisor Gina McCarthy. So, Ryan, what's your take on this?
I'm not surprised. Cue the Nate Diaz. I'm not.
They did it over Zoom.
Well, okay, that's the least surprising thing you've said so far. Big oil. Whatever you think of climate change, whatever you think of any regulation, you can just put that to the side. The bigger the company, the more they are incentivized to go along with it. So think about this: the minimum wage. Let's put minimum wage for a second. Walmart, McDonald's, whatever, they have the ability to handle the minimum wage increase because they can take from R&D, they can reallocate marketing, they can, that's not the same as a small guy who's running a taco truck in downtown Fort Worth or a burger shop. It's not the same. They don't have the same dollars. So big oil aligning for this stuff, it's of course they will, because it helps them. It cuts out competition. And so whether they believe in the climate change or not, and so many people miss this, that you go, big oil, they must buy. I don't know if they buy it or not. I know it helps them out financially because it's going to cut out the competition. And so why they're incentivized it. So no, it's not surprising.
Yeah. So this is probably a meet in the middle type thing. But anyway, they also cheered on the U.S. return to Paris Climate Agreement and urged greater government support of carbon capture and hydrogen technology. So, okay. So yeah, some things there, but they said it was described as a pleasant meeting. We have an active drilling ban on all federal property in the United States, and the meeting was pleasant. Somebody's got to be asking the question, when's this going to be over, guys? Are you going to give us
who can withstand it? Who can withstand it? Think about it. Those guys.
Yes, you're right. Your little mom and pop frackers out there can't make it like this.
Right. So if you got, Exxon's got their big stuff in Guyana, right? And so, okay, they're making money down there. I'm not saying that they're wanting to lose money in in the Permian, but it's just not the same as Pioneer, who's 100% Permian Basin company.
Oh, sure. Which got a lot bigger last year. So, again, it's kind of like when we were talking about oil prices, a couple of shows back. It's just like it's hard to believe anything these days. It's or let's just put it this way, right? It's not surprising to see things like this. So
no, it's not. Just like just so we're all clear, if you see me at the White House talking to Joe Biden, don't be surprised if there's new podcast regulations coming out. Saying, like, don't be surprised if I'm at the White House and there's all these weird podcast rules that are coming out. Like, that's how this works.
Ryan, you got to get in there with the new podcast rules.
You can't, well, I got some.
First off, it should be good content, and that's why everyone's here for the show is good content. So
good content. Speaking of which, Greg, if you miss any of the show,
yes, sir.
Greg's got it right there on the. Let's see if I can get this right there. You can go download the podcast. This is a podcast. You can go download it afterwards. Leave us a 5-star review. Greg doesn't take it. He's a hard listen. When we're off the show, Greg is just pounding me. Ryan, we need reviews. 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars. So it's tough. It's tough, man. You can see how Greg is. He's tough. He doesn't take no slack. And so go download the podcast.
I'll tell you,
leave a 5-star review.
Ryan, Ryan's talking about 5-star reviews, and when we started this, we're into episode 14 now. But I mean, just the amount of downloads that we're getting, and I mean, we haven't been around as long as some of Ryan's star shows that he's got going on with Texas Oil and Gas Podcast and Energy Week and things like this. But what we've accomplished, just with Ryan being on the show and us launching this one, I think we're up to something like 500 downloads, and we're only on episode 14. So, that means there's a lot of people out there that's reading it, not giving reviews, or, that's fine. I mean, the downloads are still a good indicator that, people are interested in the content. So, yeah, like Ryan said, get in there and leave us a review. And, just like Ryan does with his shows, we'll read those reviews online. We'll read them during the show. So get in there, leave your review. And even if it's a 1-star crap, we will read it. We'll read it.
No. Here's what you do. You take the 5-star.
I'll read it.
You give us the 5-star, and then you say whatever you want. That's the trade-off. So you can say, these are the 2 biggest buffoons talking about oil and gas. They know nothing. I can't take it anymore. 5 stars. Like, that's the trade-off. We'll read it, but so it's got to be 5 stars. That's the trade-off. It's fair, Greg. It's fair.
This is why we don't talk just about oil and gas here. We kind of merged entertainment, sports, and oil and gas and everything together, because although we do kick off with oil and gas, that's besides the point. But you got to keep it light and you got to keep it entertaining. So, saying that, Ryan, we're going to move on to this next one. Like I said, we're only briefly going to touch on it, but we talked about Deshaun Watson's issues last show. He had 1 suit against him. It looks like 16 people have come forward here, so it's even wilder this week. So, like I said, we won't hang around on this one very much. But if it is any of that is true, Ryan, close the door on him. He deserves whatever he gets. So
let me just say on this show, a few weeks ago, I petitioned Deshaun Watson to come to the Saints. I'm now officially rescinding that offer. For now. Like, until this is cleared up,
you put it on pause?
Until we get this, until we figure out what's what here. I mean, listen, I don't know enough. I just kind of read the headlines. I have no idea, but just for now, we're just going to rescind that offer until Mr. Watson can figure out, or we can figure out what's heads or tails with this, because this is definitely a situation that does not look like it's headed in the right direction.
Certainly. And if none of it is true, then there will be a lawyer have to move out of the state of Texas because he won't be able to find work again.
Yes.
Period.
And if it's, so if it's true, then Deshaun should get whatever the law allows for that. And if it's not true, the lady
100%.
who is falsely accusing him should get the maximum penalties. But I simply have no idea what's true or not. I'm just rescinding the offer until we can figure it out.
You'll see Deshaun Watson and BKFC next. All right, moving to the next one, which is the BKFC.
Oh man,
which is BKFC. We Ryan, we made some picks on BKFC back in I think it was February 26th. So, yeah. So Ryan, we both picked Garcia, so we were good here, right? So he took out.
Yep.
He took out Elmore there, went all 5 rounds, and it was unanimous decision at the end. So congrats to Garcia. But
that was a good fight. That was a good fight.
I missed it, but we both bombed on Corley, and he took a loss to Barnett 2 minutes in round 4.
He quit. He did not come back out for the 3rd round. He quit.
That's brutal. Corner stoppage.
And yeah, he did. He wouldn't come out for the 3rd round. And I don't know. So there's times where guys are really badly hurt, and you're like, okay, they can't come out. Obviously, it didn't appear that way. And they asked Reggie Barnett after the fight, what did Corley say? He said, he said, Corley told me, I know my body, I can't keep going. And I'm like, oh, okay. It's only 3. It's only 3.
That's why you get in there and fight. You get knocked out, pal.
But it's a 3-round fight. That like the rounds are shorter, the breaks longer. Yeah. So I didn't understand. I think some of these guys have to realize to fight bare knuckle, it's just different. It's just a different mentality that when you go in there, if you go back and watch, I
know my body and I don't want to get my teeth knocked out.
Exactly. Go back and watch Paulie Malignaggi when he came over to fight bare knuckle. He tried to do the whole boxing thing. You don't have that. This is a literal fist fight. Literal fist fight. That's what you call it. Fist fighting. That's all it is. It's fist fighting. You can't. There's no kicking. There's no takedowns. It's a fist fight. And I think so the guys that I managed that were in there, what they told me was the punches don't hurt as bad. Because it's just, you can't hit as hard because your hand hurts, right? So you're not gonna throw as hard of a punch, right. And so you have that.
I mean, speaking of hands hurting, I mean, there was one in here broke their hand. It was in this fight with Roy Jones and Eric Thompson, somebody broke theirs. I don't know which one.
Yeah, so Ryan Jones. So Ryan Jones is I was looking at helping him get in a few years ago, but someone asked me about helping him get in. I don't know if I ever talked to him or not. Maybe I did, but anyways, he's from my old hometown as well, so he won. But I think those guys. Oh, Scott O'Shaughnessy fought. I missed that. Oh my gracious, I had no idea. Yeah, so some of these guys I just know from old stomping grounds. But anyways, Scott O'Shaughnessy. Yeah, one of my guys. Click on it. One of my guys, Chris Anthony, beat him for the title in New Orleans a few years back. That's the same guy.
It's Melvin Gillard?
No. Let's see here. Scroll down. You should say he lost to Chris Anthony. Maybe it's a different guy. Okay, maybe it's a different guy because there's no. Wait. Oh, there it is. Yeah, scrolling up. Keep on going. Yeah, that's him. There. He lost to Chris. Yeah, so Christopher Anthony, the guy I used to manage, and he went down to New Orleans and beat him, won the title. So, anyways. That was the MMA though, not bare knuckle. So I think these guys get in there, and it's just it's not that the punches. Listen, you get knocked out. Obviously, it's not that the punches are just packing. It's the cuts, it's the blood, it's just the tenacity. I just don't think so. I think Chop got in there, and Reggie Barnett is kind of built for it. Nastiness, and I didn't think he was gonna win, but he has that about him, and it just didn't. I think Corley just wasn't ready for that, and so
well, good he didn't step in the ring with somebody doing Muay Thai. He wouldn't have been able to walk out after the first round. So that's brutal. If there's anything else, they're more bloody than BKFC, and that's the Muay Thai.
Yeah. Scott O'Shaughnessy beat Melvin Gillard. I didn't know he's fighting. I missed the first fight on the card, and so wow, I didn't realize that. I came in on the Arnold Adams fight, so I guess the first 2 fights I missed.
But Ryan, when we looked at it before, when we talked about it, back in February on the 26th, there was only 2 fights on the card. So between the 26th and the 19th, they added 8 more fights on. So hats off to these guys at BKFC, man.
Yeah, I can kind of give you a little inside baseball here if you want it, or we can move on.
Well, you can give me some inside baseball.
So what right now what they're doing is, so if you take like the Melvin Gillard Scott O'Shaughnessy fight, I have no indirect knowledge on this, but what they're from observing them, what they're doing is they're wanting to put Gillard in there because they want him to win, right? And so they're trying to find someone that he can beat. It's kind of the old boxing thing. You're trying to get these guys over. Obviously, it didn't work
Right.
out with Scott O'Shaughnessy, and so they tried to work out. So they're trying to bring in these older names that they can get, and they can get these guys W's, and they can put them over. And so that's kind of, so what you're seeing is they'll say, well, we're going to do Garcia, Elmore, Barnett, and Corley. Well, then Arnold Adams and all these other guys, they can fill those guys in relatively quickly. They have a lot of guys who want to fight for them, who are not, or kind of no namers, who want to go fight. So them to fill a card, and they pay good. They do pay good. Compared to what these MMA guys.
$2,500 on the low end.
What's
per
that?
Fight. $2,500 on the low end per fight. Yeah.
Maybe that's what they're getting now.
That's what I read. That's what I read 2 days ago. So I was curious about how they could fill it.
No. You're right. You're right. It was 2,000, 2,500, something like that. That sounds about right on the low end. So Scott O'Shaughnessy, I don't know what he's getting paid for his MMA fights, but he's probably getting 2,000 on the top end, right? And so he can go fight Melvin Gillard, could potentially get a payday. So anyone who wants to do that, it's a good opportunity for him. And he can probably get real sponsors, whereas his MMA shows he can't get sponsors. So there's a plethora of guys. So they don't have to fill these cards out in months in advance because they got dudes beating their door down wanting to get in.
Just ready to go.
Ready to go. Ready to go. Ready to go.
Well, Ryan, we'll pick our, although there's only one on the card right now, we'll go ahead and pick our
that dude,
the guy that our main event for BKFC 17 here.
Oh, hold on. Is Clicker the guy that like just destroyed that dude? What's his first name? Dylan Kleckler. Yeah, click on that.
Okay, so
scroll down there. Scroll down so I can see this. Just to his record. Right there. Yeah, that body punch. Oh my gosh. Oh, he hit that dude in the body, Greg. Chris Jensen.
Josh
Gosh.
No.
Yeah, he hit
Chris Jensen
in the body and like folded him up, made the guy quit. Like it was bad. It was a body shot. I don't know if you could find that online. It was so I got Klecker. I got Klecker.
So it looked like he was out a little while there, wasn't he? Wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't fight very many fights. If you want to talk about 2015, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 fights since 2015. That's not a whole lot, right?
If you scroll down, we'll see here. So he had a good career before. A lot of these guys don't have good careers, and then they kind of hang it up and come back. But he was good. So I don't know. I wonder what changed his mind. But yeah, Dylan Kleckler. God, I want to see if I can pull it up. He hit that guy with the shot in the ribs, and man, he folded him up bad. It was bad for a body shot. I mean, it wasn't even
11-1-0 for his record. So let's look at Josh. Mr. Burns here, 8-10-0.
I got Kleckler. I don't know if I can find that body shot. I can't. I'll send it out there to look, but
okay. Just looking at these, I'd go with Kleckler as well. So,
yeah.
But again, just a disclaimer: do not wager any money on who Ryan and I pick. I mean, we like boxing, we like sports, but again, we've had some pretty bad calls back in the day. But
entertainment purpose only. Who you got in the UFC this weekend, man?
I don't do what?
Who you got in the UFC this weekend?
I haven't even looked at the card. I need to go check it out.
It's Stipe versus Ngano, heavyweight championship of the world. That's this Saturday night.
That ought to be a pretty rough one.
There is a 0% chance Stipe wins unless he wins. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, we go back to those underdogs again, and if the money had been in the right place with that last Connor fight, and it would have been some people made some serious cash off of that.
Hey, if you'd have listened to your boy on the last Connor fight,
lost
if you listen
a
to your
lot of
boy,
money.
I know, but if you listen to your boy
Yes.
on the Connor fight, you'd have gotten paid. You gotten paid.
Yes, you're right. You're right. And you remind me that every time we bring that up.
You brought it up, not me. You brought it up, not
No,
me.
I said every time we bring it up, there's always a reminder there that I made the wrong picks.
No, I'm saying you brought the Connor stuff up, not me. You just brought the Connor stuff up. When you bring Connor up, I'm going to bring it up. That's how it works.
I'll take, as a disclaimer, don't take anybody that I pick. We'll just say that outright.
Oh, I went like 0 for 4 on the rest of the card, just to be clear. But I got that one right. I got the one right. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that was a brutal one. It was a good fight, though. I enjoyed it.
It was a good fight. No, yeah. If you're laying down what we're saying,
they'll fight again. They'll fight again.
I think so. So yeah, if you're betting on what we're saying, then just send us the money instead. That would be a better use because
yeah. But again, I enjoy. I mean, when we start talking about, Connor and the losses and the wins and everything. I mean, you talk about these guys, Kleckler and Burns. Burns doesn't look like he's spent very much time in the gym. So if you want to know what happens when you're out of the gym for a while, you just go ask Roy Jones Jr. So anyway, great work with the team at BKFC for these fights. It's great.
Yeah.
Speaking of rebouts. Speaking of rematches, that is, Ryan, this is on the table for May, it sounds like. That's Mr. Iron Mike and Evander. Seems there's been some issues with small text in the contract, but Mike says it's certainly on the books and it's going to get worked out. What are your picks here? Not a year. You can't pick a year. I mean, what's your pick? Who's the fighter here? Who's the winner?
There's no winner, and that's the thing about last time. Last time, if you've followed what was happening, it was impossible for the judges to pick a winner because it wasn't a sanctioned.
Okay, off the books winner.
Probably Evander.
I mean, if we're just again,
twice the prime.
Like I told you the last time, I went for Tyson just because I want to, not because I think one is better physically than the other, but I just like Mike, man. I do.
Oh, I would love nothing more than Tyson to knock him out. That would just be hilarious. Like just to see like 54-year-old Tyson knocking someone out, but they're not going to go for knockout. So it's going to be a points fight, which means I think Evander has it. Evander outpointed him the first time and until he got his ear bitten the second time. So why would I think the third time is going to be different?
Yeah. Mike had one more ear than Evander did in that fight.
Yeah, he won the battle of the ears. He's got that done for sure. I remember where I was watching that. Do you remember did you watch it live?
No, but I wished I had watched it live. I watched a lot of Mike's fights live, but I missed that one.
I remember where I was with my uncle, or with my great uncle. He had a hunting camp about an hour southeast where I used to live, and they had a satellite and they were buying it. So we went down there and just kind of hung out. And I remember when it happened, we're all like, "What's going on?" Like, wait, no way, no, he didn't do it again, And then they called the fight. It was just, I mean, I don't remember much about the fight. I mean, I've watched the fight a lot since then, but I don't remember much about that night other than just the confusion of just sitting there because I was probably. Well, they fought like 95, something like that, 94, 95. I was in sixth grade, So, but I remember like us all being confused about what was going on, and then, anyways.
Then they came out there and retrieved the evidence.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm from Mike.
Hey, I would love to see Mike win. I think Evander's.
Go ahead.
I'd love to see Mike win. I think Evander's going to beat him.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen. I need to go look around, but I haven't seen anything of Evander in the gym unless he's keeping it to himself.
That's true.
So, I mean, also, seen a lot of Mike in the gym. You could tell when Mike was fighting Roy Jones Jr. who who did the time in the gym. Mike had certainly done the time in the gym.
That's no doubt about that. No doubt about that.
They were standing there talking at the end of the round. Roy Jones Jr. was the one that was really breathing hard. Mike was like, "This is just another day in the office."
That's right. That's 100% right.
His recovery time was quicker, so you can tell that he'd been training a lot. So,
agreed.
All right. So we talked about what does DoorDash and Dirt have in common, Ryan. So, yeah, this is rough here. Michigan DoorDash driver drops pizza on the ground and then stuffs it back in a box. Listen, you never know, Ryan, when something like this even happens. So you don't know if it happens to Uber Eats. You don't know if it happens with DoorDash or any kind of other food delivery service. Obviously, if the package is messed up, you would know, but you kind of got to go on good faith, right? Well, if it wasn't for this Ring doorbell that was installed here, this fellow may have gotten away with it. A Detroit man's dinner was spoiled when the DoorDash driver who was delivering his pizza dropped it out of the box. I'm struggling here laughing because I could just imagine people looking at that video and onto the home's front porch. The whole incident was caught on video by his doorbell camera. Ryan, my only question here is, do you think they ate it?
Well, yeah, I was doing the math there, right? So you got to think it takes 15 minutes when you order pizza to pick it up, another 15 minutes to get delivered. At best case scenario, this is a 30-minute wait, probably 45 minutes to an hour. You're quite hungry. You might have to just go through and eat the thing. Listen,
do you think they dropped it and then reviewed the video later and was like,
yeah,
well, what is he doing?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 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 No. I would suspect they probably ate it, unless they were looking at it early on. But yeah, I suspect they ate it.
Because when your doorbell rings, I don't know. I don't have a Ring doorbell. I was thinking about one in the future, but it doesn't activate until someone rings the doorbell, I guess, unless you have motion activation and it comes up on the camera. But if you got it on your phone, if this guy dropped the pizza and he was quick enough, he could get it back in the box without you seeing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Or just turn his back to the door and be like, let me shove it in here real quick. Yeah. I mean,
let me slide this back in there.
Oh man. The worst part, Greg, is right now my wife is starving me. And so I'm on day 4 of starvation. And so you're just thinking about a pizza on the ground, I would probably eat it right now.
Are you doing a cleanse? What are you doing?
My wife's got me on this. It's not 100. Okay. It's a borderline all liquids type thing. I've had chicken noodle soup. So I've had, the only substance I've had is, I eat sunflower seeds regularly. So spits if you want to sponsor the show. But as far as, I had a bite of a hot dog, a bite of a brat on Monday, and I've had some chicken noodle soup. And then last night I had a bite, like literally one bite of mac and cheese and chicken for my daughter. But I'm eating soups, chicken broth, protein shakes. Can't have ice cream and Jello, but just kind of that all liquid, mostly liquid diet thing. And so it's keeps me hungry, really hungry, really hungry. So,
well, but I bet you're hydrated.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Matter of fact, I make a lot of trips to the bathroom because I'm so hydrated.
Well, my friend, good luck. Good luck with that. I wish you all the best. But that brings us to an end here. So, Ryan, I'd like to thank our awesome sponsors here, Lit Handlers. And again, everyone get in there and download the Wriglings application and visit Lit Handlers and get your 15% off today. Once you download the app we talked about earlier, you can then go visit lithandlers.com, use the discount code that is sent by email with your email verification once you register with us. And for our subscribers, next week we will be issuing the weekly newsletter or the rundown, and that code will be in that newsletter. So you will receive it probably Sunday night, Monday morning. So yeah.
Awesome. Very good. Thank you, everyone. Be sure to rate and review the podcast. Thank you so much.
Do it. No more naked Yetis, please. Keep them covered.
Please.
All right. I'm Greg with Wriglings, and that is Ryan with War Room Media. Thanks for joining this week for another edition of Overtime. And that is a wrap.
You've been watching Overtime, a live series brought to you by Rig Links and War Room Media. Your hosts have been Greg Williams and Ryan Ray. For sponsorship opportunities, send us an email at info@riglinks.com. Tune in next Thursday at 10 a.m. CST for another live episode.